I'm Steve Lund, folks. I'm a partner with Deloitte, and we're an enthusiastic supporter of the Distinguished Speaker Series, which, in my view, enables important conversations that we believe contributes to a thriving Greater Moncton. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Isabelle Hudon, the CEO of Business Development Bank of Canada. Recognized as a mobilizing leader with a keen sense of energy, Isabelle has systematically brought an ambitious and resolutely action-oriented vision to all of the organizations she has led. She was appointed President and CEO of BDC in August 2021, after serving as Ambassador of Canada to France and Monaco for 4 years, and holding the positions of President and CEO Quebec and Senior Vice President Canada of Sun Life Financial. Since joining BDC, Isabelle has dedicated herself to putting the D in BDC at the forefront of the activities and priorities of her 2,900 colleagues. Driven by a strong desire to increase the organization's contribution to the country's development through its entrepreneurs, she's accelerating the deployment of multiple initiatives across BDC that will enable the organization to increase its impact and contribute to fair, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. In addition to her duties at BDC, Isabelle is co-chair of the Ordre du Montréal's Council and the co-founder of the A Effect. She previously served as the personal representative of the Prime Minister of Canada for La Francophonie and sat on the boards of directors of Hydro-Québec, Groupe Marcel, Holt, Renfrew, and the Canada Council for the Arts. So please join me in giving a warm Moncton welcome to Isabelle.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It is a real pleasure to be with you here in Moncton, and I should say, again, in Moncton. I'm often with my colleagues virtually from Montreal, but it's always a pleasure to be here with you, dear colleagues, in person. And I say here again in Moncton because I do remember when I was ambassador to France, you of Moncton invited me as a keynote speaker at their annual event, and I remember this event whereby I flew from Paris in the very cold winter Moncton weather, and I enjoyed it very much, and I'm very pleased to be here again. I'm also very much happy to be here within the Chamber of Commerce ecosystem. And Steve, you were highly generous at listing everything I did, and I did not feel young listening at you. Though there's one role that I very much enjoyed, probably as much as the one that I have right now, leading BDC. I was once CEO of the Montreal Board of Trade. And I stand in front of you knowing very well the importance of a Board of Trade. I'm standing in front of you, Matt, Michelle, Karine, Nadine, telling you that you're doing an important thing for your community. You have accepted challenges, Michelle. You've accepted challenges a few years ago, Matt. You're now wearing this on your shoulders as the new elected president, and Nadine, you just joined the organization. Sometimes people could challenge you on why. Well, after a little bit more than 180 years of existence, the Moncton Board of Trade showed the relevancy and the difference that you're doing in your community. If we read the story and the history well, 180 years ago, it was 35 members that the Moncton Board of Trade or Chamber of Commerce welcomed. And you're now close to 1,000. Do you like this sentence? I did not say 900. I said close to 1,000. So both are real. But that's quite impressive. Ça me fait vraiment, vraiment plaisir d'être parmi vous, de vous parler, bien sûr, de l'importance d'une chambre de commerce dans le dynamisme de l'économie de votre région, mais permettez-moi également de venir vous parler un peu de BDC. So BDC is celebrating in September its 80th anniversary. So 80 years of existence. The reason I say that I put an emphasis on the 80 number is that it's been around for a long time. We're proud of what we're doing, and we do recognize that SMEs play a central role in our country's prosperity. You, entrepreneurs, and Matt, you're an entrepreneur yourself, so you're leading now the Chamber of Commerce with that entrepreneurial posture. You bring 90% of all private jobs in Canada, private sector jobs. And you do contribute to over 50% of GDP of our country. So in this context, there should be no doubt about the importance of supporting you, Canadian entrepreneurs, and our purpose is to empower the dreamers and doers of our country to build resilient businesses and build a better tomorrow for all. And that's exactly what we do day in, day out at BDC. Most of you, or I'd like to believe that most of you in the audience already have a pretty good idea of what BDC does. Just for the few ones that would not completely appreciate what BDC does, give me a few minutes. So first letter, B, in our name says it all. We are a bank. We make loans. We invest capital. We also offer advisory services to entrepreneurs. As any bank, what we offer is not free. So we have the pressure of offering you entrepreneurs real added value so that we do earn your business. And I want to mention also that as a Crown Corporation, we are also a bank and we are self-sustaining. So on a yearly basis, we do generate our own capital that we need to deliver on future years. We don't receive money from the government. And I take great pride of saying this because it makes a huge difference into our business posture. We do deliver good and I hope products and services to our clients, but we do manage risks and we do deliver profitability so that we're capable of operating on a self-sustaining basis year after year. The last, and let me come back to the D in a few minutes, but the last letter, C, as I mentioned, tells you that we have only one owner, and that is the Canadian government. It looks simple just to say that we have only one shareholder, but I can attest that under that umbrella of one shareholder, we have very diverse stakeholders. We are a Crown Corporation, and yes, we belong to the government. But Canada is not just our unique shareholder, it is who we work for. We support entrepreneurs to add to Canada's economic prosperity. This is how we maximize value for our shareholder and Canadians at large, while making sure we self-fund and we do not cost $1 to taxpayers. And we take great pride in this. But that description is not complete without speaking of the D in the middle of our name, which stands for development. It is what makes us different, and it explains how we think and how we operate. We are there to support growth and long-term success of entrepreneurs, the only clients we work with. That focus on development means we are more interested in generating positive outcome for businesses than pursuing pure profit. We are willing to be more patient, more flexible, willing to take both more risks and different risks than other financial institutions, keen to help with connections, advice, and emotional support. We are here not to compete with the other financial institutions and partners, but we are here to be complementary. And it is black on white in our mandate, whereby we need to be complementary to other financial institutions. When I joined BDC, one of the first things that my colleagues told me was how important it was for them to put renewed emphasis on the D of BDC. And honestly, what they told me is, Isabelle, could you give a capital D to BDC? Whereby in our mandate, it's clear, and again, it's black on white. We have a dual mandate. We have a commercial mandate whereby we need to bring to the market products and services that entrepreneurs would need. We need to offer those products and services to a competitive pricing, but also to a fair pricing so that we can be self-sustaining. This is about our commercial mandate. But we also have a development mandate. And that's what I remember 3 years ago when I joined the organization, and that I listened to that often comment from my colleagues, could you put a capital D to BDC? Right at the beginning, I was like, of course. You know, like it sounded great. Like it was a great tagline for me at the beginning. But I needed to learn the culture. I needed to learn a little bit more into granular ways our mandate. And then I needed to work with my colleagues to really find the meaning of a capital D. I stand in front of you after 3 years of experience with a better appreciation of what it means. So first of all, our development role, what drives my colleagues to the office almost every day. My colleagues in the room and my 3,000 colleagues across the country, they're all bankers. They're all very good bankers, damn good bankers. They could work at any and for any financial institutions, but they've picked BDC. They've picked BDC to bring their expertise, their know-how, and their knowledge because the purpose of making a difference for and with entrepreneurs in a development posture is different from other financial institutions. I have the privilege of leading a team that is united for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs and the success of their business endeavors are an incredible source of energy and dedication. And the reason I often look this side is I just visited Darcy and your business, Darcy. Amazing business model with the level of energy of you being an entrepreneur that is highly impressive. And I'm sure that there's many other entrepreneurs that we help in the room, but I had the privilege to be in your office half an hour ago and an hour ago. And I drove back with Sylvain in the car and I said, there's no better incarnation than Darcy of the dreamers and doers that we want to help and that we want to support. So, coup de chapeau. The second reason has to do with great potential. Again, back to the capital D. When my colleagues were calling for an even greater emphasis on our development role, it was because they had the intuition the support BDC offers could be relevant to an even bigger number of entrepreneurs. As a result, one of the first things I did when I joined BDC has been to understand better the number of entrepreneurs who actually needed our support. We wanted to know who they were, what obstacles they faced, what type of financial and non-financial needs they had, and who was best positioned to bring it to them. As we conducted this exercise, it became clear that there was an opportunity for us to do more and better. More because there are still in Canada hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, and to be more specific, close to 400,000 entrepreneurs in Canada who are not able to access the financing they need to grow their businesses to their full potential. Better because we realized we had to connect differently with different entrepreneurs, different partners, and different networks to expand our reach and connect with entrepreneurs currently left behind. That analysis spurred new ambitions and a renewed strategy for all of us at BDC. For example, I've mentioned 400,000 entrepreneurs today looking for support and that they are not getting the support. When I joined BDC in 2021, we were serving 65,000 clients. And I remember, and rightly so, my colleagues were proud to say, Isabelle, we're serving 65,000 clients, and we have doubled the number of clients over the last 5 years. I was very much impressed with the doubling over 5 years. It's not easy to double the number of clients that you serve for any organization in 5 years. I was not ready to be impressed, and I was, with great respect I say this, but the 65,000, I paused, and I reflected on the 65,000, because in Canada in 21, we had 1.1 million SMEs. We're now at 1.3. So I was comparing the 65,000 to the 1.1. It was not really the right thing to do because not 100% of the 1.1 million SMEs are for BDC to help, because keep in mind that we need to be complementary to other financial institutions. But still, the 65 felt just a little bit low compared to the 1.1. So that's why we digged into understanding what's the portion of the pie that BDC should aim at and help. And then that's when and how we got to 400,000 SMEs. Then that was the right thing to do, to compare 65,000 to 400,000. And I thought that probably we're not playing our full role, serving less than 20% of our full potential. So that's why, and that's how we digged into what should we do more and better and how. Since 2018, we've doubled the number of clients we're serving. If we go back to 2014, it's by 6 the number of clients we are serving. With the new strategy, we've accelerated the growth. We're now at 106,000 clients. Over the last 3 years, we've grown 40% the number of clients we are supporting, we are helping, we are financing, and for which we care about. And that makes me very proud. But then, again, to play our complementary role, it was not just a question, and it's not only a question of going after new clients just to tick the box that we serve more clients. When we digged into the 400,000 clients or SMEs that are not getting the support they need, we found that more than 60% of those are underrepresented groups into our own portfolio, meaning women entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, Indigenous entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs in regions and rural regions. And that's with all those data that we've crafted and refined our strategy and our action plan. And I'm very proud to say that it delivered over 3 years, 40% of sustainable growth and the right growth. Growth alone is not necessarily good. We need to generate the growth that is aligned to our mission and our purpose. Supporting more entrepreneurs to me means doing in all parts of the country, and that obviously includes Atlantic Canada, New Brunswick, and Moncton. One of our strengths at BDC has always been our willingness to work in collaboration with other partners. So whether it is with ACOA or other financial institutions, finding ways to be complementary is key to our success, and that is particularly true in the Atlantic provinces, where putting resources in common is key to success. Of all regions in Canada, besides the province of Quebec, where we have our head office, Atlantic Canada is where we have the highest penetration rate at almost 8%. And I look at Patrick Lausier, our leader for the Atlantic region, and I say, kudos, Patrick. It comes with strong leadership, strong team, willingness, determination, and courage. As a result, the share of clients BDC serves in Atlantic provinces is higher than the region's share of businesses in Canada. Of course, if we are proud to support 4,000, a little bit more than 4,000 entrepreneurs in the Atlantic, of which 1,500 are in New Brunswick, there is no doubt there is a number that number needs to grow. New Brunswick just had in 2023 solid population growth and its strongest employment growth since 2002 with 3.5%. Looking forward, with improving conditions around inflation and eventually interest rates cuts, I'm not announcing anything, I'm not in charge of anything, I believe that there is exciting potential for entrepreneurs. BDC a une très belle et forte présence en Atlantique et c'est particulièrement le cas ici à Moncton. Nous avons un centre d'affaires très bien établi où nous avons près d'une 50aine de collègues. Je ne vous cacherai pas que je suis toujours emballée de mes visites auprès de mes collègues du Nouveau-Brunswick, notamment parce que le bilinguisme y est aussi vivant que charmant et que nous avons tout ce qu'il nous faut pour soutenir l'entrepreneuriat francophone. As I mentioned earlier, as we want to do more and better for entrepreneurs, BDC needs to be particularly outgoing and visible with segments of the population that have been too often overlooked by financial institutions in general. And I want to name women entrepreneurs, Indigenous entrepreneurs, and also entrepreneurs from Black communities. And I should also mention newcomers. When I look at the immigrants that are picking New Brunswick and Moncton as their new home, there's a high potential for us to help a number of growing of entrepreneurs that are newcomers. One thing that our team in Moncton stands out for is the number of woman-owned businesses among our clients. I'm very proud to say that 30% of our clients here are women entrepreneurs, a number that is well above the average in the Canadian population, that is 18%. Such results are not magic, or it doesn't come with magic. They are the outcome of deliberate actions and initiatives. I often say that when you want to change the world, you can have good intentions, but if you don't go with the right intentions and being intentional, you will never move the needle. I took way too much time, but I'm highly passionate with the organization I lead, but also with the clients we serve and that we want to serve more and more. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
So we do have some questions, so I'll pose some questions and then we'll open it up to the floor for members to also pose questions. I know Isabelle is happy to be here and to engage with all of the entrepreneurs in the room. My first question, Isabelle, so as BDC looks to do more to support entrepreneurs, like you mentioned during your speech, what do you see is the biggest thing you need to do to move the needle? Do you think the bank needs to take more risks?
The shareholder wants us to take more risks, the clients wants us to take more risk, and internally we want to take different risks. So not that I'm picky on words, but we need to take more risks, we need to take different risks while we are managing capital and while we have to stay self-sustaining as an organization. The short answer, Nadine, is yes. We need to take more risks and different risks in believing in entrepreneurs that have not the support of other financial institutions. I was sharing with my colleagues earlier this morning that in other organizations that I worked for, usually acquisition of talent, I was looking at you, Michelle, acquisition of talent, but acquisition of clients is as important as retention of clients, and very much so, the retention part is often more critical than the acquisition. At BDC, because the mandate we have and the structure and the governance we have, not to say that we're not proud of retaining our clients for 30 years or so, but if we can help today more entrepreneurs that are not getting the support from any financial institutions, help them with non-financial support and financial support to grow and become more appealing for other financial institutions, I think that we can tick a box that it's a success. Not a success to see them move away from BDC. It's always difficult to see a client moving away. But when they do move away to join a charter banks and they have access to more capital at a better price, you know what? I go to bed and I tell myself we did a damn good job.
Perfect. So getting ready to launch. Quels sont les principaux défis auxquels les petites et moyennes entreprises du Canada sont actuellement confrontées et comment BDC vont les aider?
Do I go Molière ou Shakespeare?
Oui, tu peux parler de...
Je peux aller dans de Molière.
Ouais.
Depuis 3 ans, on a vu qu'il y a eu des vents de face nombreux que les entrepreneurs ont dû gérer à travers le Canada. Dans les 24 derniers mois, on a vu de vertiges importants de la part des entrepreneurs à gérer la hausse des taux d'intérêt. Je vous dirais que dans les sondages les plus récents qu'on a fait auprès de nos clients, la question de l'inflation et des taux d'intérêt est en 2e ou 3e place. Et devant, on retrouve encore la question de la main-d'œuvre et du logement. Et puis, j'en parlais avec toi, Nadine, un va avec l'autre. Bon, nous, on n'aidera pas sur la question du logement, mais toute la question de la main-d'œuvre. When I was CEO of the Montreal Board of Trade, early 2002, 3, 4, 5, I don't remember. Well, I do remember, but early 2000, we were not allowed to talk about technology to take over responsibilities in organizations. Because at the time, there was unemployment rate very high, and we were running at risk to say, well, you're stealing jobs when you bring technology into the organization. We're not there anymore. And I don't have to explain like the numbers around population. My hope and the challenge that I gave my team is, what can we do for more SMEs to look at technology, but not only technology, but specifically AI to solve the labor shortage. The scaling and the pace of the scaling when you bring AI into your organization, very small to very big, is very impressive. And I think that BDC needs to bring, first and foremost, non-financial support around this topic. It's too quick, too fast, and we won't do good if we only bring financing to support integration of AI. I think that we need to bring content and advisory services around in your own model, in your own business. Even if you have 4, 6, 10 employees, there's easy AI components that you can integrate into your business process, and the scaling is fast like we would not believe. And I think that we need to start feeding the AI conversation around the small things or the small problems that you can fix with AI. It won't solve 100% of the labor shortage, but I think that we could solve for a good portion.
Absolutely. In fact, we are just doing a 4-part series on AI. So it'll be great to be able to promote those tools that BDC is developing in terms of advising. So last week, BDC unveiled the latest results of your survey on mental health of entrepreneurs. Are you worried about entrepreneurs' mental health? And why is that important to BDC?
I was more worried last year with last year's results than I am with this year's result. I'm still very much worried because between 25 to 30% of entrepreneurs across Canada are saying that they're struggling with their mental health. And not only struggling, but saying that the burden is heavy, and they don't know, either they don't know how to deal with it, either they feel that they don't have the financial capacity to go and ask for help. And I should say also, they don't know where to get help. So we started this survey 6 years ago. Before the pandemic, the results were quite flat. Then during the pandemic, we skipped a year because it was not the right timing to do such a survey. Mid-pandemic, we restarted the survey, and then at the exit of the pandemic, then the numbers like skyrocketed, and not in a good sense. But the increase of la détresse, how do you say this?
The stress?
That's quite easy. Yeah. Grew so much that last year I said to my colleagues that came again to present the results, what you know is what you know. When you don't know, you don't know. But I said to my colleagues, now we know that entrepreneurs are struggling. What can we do? And then we started thinking about a pilot project where we would bring to entrepreneurs, to a limited number of entrepreneurs because it's a pilot project, free therapy for 3 hours, but not us, but using a third party. But I have to tell you that internally at BDC, it was not unanimous. And there's still a lot of taboos around mental health. And I decided to go with this pilot project, not against all odds, but not having everyone convinced that it was our role to play. But back to the capital D of BDC, I think that's why and how we can play our development role. I don't know where this pilot project will bring us.
Sure.
The limited number of entrepreneurs that can get those 3 hours free of therapy is up to 500. After 3-4 months of this pilot project, we're just a little bit more than 250 entrepreneurs that took the offer. I think that we will need to see over the next few weeks and few months and look how it goes and look at the outputs and outcomes and see what is our role to play. We won't solve for this, but we have a role to play.
Very interesting. I would like to take this opportunity to invite anybody who's here in attendance, if there's any questions for Madame Isabelle. Oh, France Leblanc at the back.
I'm not sure my voice projects.
I think there's a mic coming.
Oh, parfait. Merci. Gracias. Merci. Social entrepreneurship is a growing area of interest here in Canada, and especially for non-for-profit who are looking to diversify their revenue. I'm curious if BDC plans to play a role, and what it would be, and how you can better support the growth of the sector.
We don't finance non-for-profit, but we do finance social entrepreneurs. Like, we can find social entrepreneurs that are in a different structure than nonprofit. We made few exceptions within the advisory services to help and to deliver mandates for nonprofit organization. And I feel that it's an area that we have to find our sweet spot. I'm not saying that we will make all nonprofit eligible for BDC, but from an advisory services perspective, nonprofit services, I think that we need to do more. We need to, the big challenge to serve more of the social entrepreneurs is including into our risk management this component of social entrepreneurs. Social entrepreneurs are delivering as much value, if not more, than for-profit, but numbers are lining up in a different ways. And credit and risk management have not been designed or yet been redesigned to include their way of doing things. So we're getting closer to this audience through advisory services to see if we can open to a greater number for financing. On the investment side, we are further down the road with social entrepreneurs, where we do invest way much more into these categories of companies.
Oh, interesting. Is there anybody else that has a question? Just looking around the room.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Thanks, Isabelle, for making the time to come down here today. Just first thing, I want to acknowledge our experience working with Kirk in your Fredericton office has been exactly everything you've described as BDC looking to do. So that's, yeah. I guess my question for you is just, BDC is in a unique position interfacing with SMEs and the federal government. Would be curious if you guys have participated in any of the consultation around the capital gains tax treatment, because I know a lot of people in the room were very disappointed to see that change happen, especially given kind of the general climate we've been in for the last few years.
The short answer is no. We were not invited to this decision. And as a Crown Corporation, I need to be very much respectful for what the shareholder is deciding. So it's not my place to comment on is it a good or not good decision. Though we were not included, and I'm going to share with you that even in the budget where we are concerned or mentioned, we learn the day of. So they have their own network of consultation, and we were not part of this. In the budget, though, this year, they wrote black on white that they wanted the financial Crown corporations. Ottawa, the Canadian government, they have 3 financial Crown corporations. FCC, more for the agriculture world, EDC for export, and us. They are clear, and I was very happy with this, that they want us to take more risks and different risks. When I said that we were self-sustaining, we do generate the capital we need. The government doesn't have to send money our way on a yearly basis, and on top, we pay dividends to the government. On a yearly basis, it's an average of 300 to 500 million a year that we send back to Ottawa. And I've made the pledge to the shareholder that it's a good thing, and it does oblige some very good discipline to a financial institution when you have to pay dividends. But what if we would keep on paying dividends, but we would also use a portion of the excess of capital to do more and better and take more risks with more entrepreneurs across Canada. So I was happy to read what was about BDC in the budget this year.
I think we have time for one more question. No? Oh, well, right over
of
here,
course.
Darcy.
I'll take the opportunity to thank you, Isabelle. Thank you for your kind words, and I'm sure I could learn a ton more from you. I'll echo our colleagues' comments here and say that as a growing entrepreneur in Moncton, we've invested a significant amount of money in the college, and you've done everything that you said and probably more. The relationships we have been outstanding, and we've seen the growth and the acknowledgement of needing to do things better and different over the last few years. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Darcy.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Moncton for being here today. It was wonderful to have you, so thank you. And thank you, everybody, for attending our Distinguished Speakers Series, presenting sponsor Deloitte. Thank you.
And best of success to you, Nadia.
Merci, Isabelle.